In the history of recorded music, there are accidents that destroy careers. And then there are accidents that create legends. October 31st, 1975. London. A 24-track tape machine is spinning just a fraction too fast. In 12 hours, this tape will be at the pressing plant. There's no time to fix it. No time to start over. What happens next will change rock music forever. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Was it really an accident at all?
I've lost it. Okay, I've lost another Galileo.
To understand how a mechanical glitch became musical magic, we need to go back to where it all began. August 1975. Rockfield Studios, Wales. A converted farmhouse where Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath had already made history. Freddie Mercury walks in with sheet music for something he calls Bohemian Rhapsody. 6 minutes, 3 distinct movements, no chorus. Everything the music industry said would never work on radio. But Mercury has a vision. And visions, as any artist will tell you, require sacrifice. What he doesn't know yet is that this particular vision will demand more than money, more than time. It will demand perfection from imperfect machines.
If the sales were like they were reported to be, it would flow.
Here's what you need to understand about analog tape. Every machine is slightly different. Every studio has its own sound. And in 1975, there was no way to sync them perfectly.
Freddie invited me around to his flat.
Queen didn't record Bohemian Rhapsody in one studio. They recorded it in 4. Rockfield for the foundation. The Roundhouse for guitars that could make grown men weep. Scorpio Studios for vocals that would take your breath away. And finally, Sarm East, where everything would either come together or fall apart.
As soon as you hit an E-flat chord on here, you think of Freddie, I do anyway.
For 3 months, they pushed analog technology beyond its limits. 180 vocal overdubs, 8th generation tape copies so thin you could read a newspaper through them, as Brian May later said. Producer Roy Thomas Baker's motto became their curse. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
There's another Galileo missing.
But each studio transfer meant another generation of quality loss. Each tape machine ran at slightly different speeds. By October, they weren't just fighting the music industry's expectations. They were fighting physics itself. October 30th, 1975. Sarm East Studios, London. Queen arrives to find their salvation. A brand new automated mixing console, the first of its kind in the UK. Finally, technology that could keep up with their ambition, until the automation pushes the mix in a gritty distortion. Producer Roy Thomas Baker kills the computer, forces the band to mix the climactic rock section by hand. They're running out of time. They're running out of options. And that's when the machine starts running fast. It's barely perceptible, 1%, maybe 2%. The kind of thing that would normally stop a session dead. But they don't have time to stop. EMI's courier is coming at dawn. The single must be finished tonight. A junior engineer spots the speed meter sitting just above its mark. He points it out. Everyone sees it. And everyone makes the same decision. Keep rolling. What they couldn't know in 1975 is what we can measure today. That tiny speed increase, just 1.03% faster than normal, pushed the pitch up exactly 17 cents. In musical terms, that's like bending a guitar string just enough to sparkle. It made every chord brighter, every vocal line more urgent. It trimmed 4 seconds off the running time, nudging a 6-minute epic closer to radio-friendly territory. and it gave the entire track an energy that most listeners would never consciously notice, but always feel. For decades, musicians have struggled to play along with the recorded version. Bassists retune their entire rigs just a tiny bit sharp. Piano players give up and use software to match the pitch. They can feel something's wrong, but they can't quite put their finger on what. The mystery deepened when bootleg multitracks leaked online. Audio engineers began analyzing the isolated vocal tracks, comparing them to the final mix. What they found was disturbing. Many of the Roger Taylor high notes weren't Roger Taylor at all. Before computers could shift pitch digitally, Queen had discovered analog magic. Slow the tape down while recording, speed it back up for playback. Suddenly, Freddie Mercury could sing parts that should have been impossible for his range. Those glass-bright Galileo harmonies, Freddie on Verispeed. The impossible high notes in the opera section, Freddie again, singing into a slowed machine that made him sound superhuman when played back at normal speed. By the time that final tape speed error occurred, Queen weren't just recording a song. They were bending the laws of physics to create something that had never existed before. October 31st, 1975. Dawn. The EMI courier loads a tape into his van. On that tape is a song that plays 1% too fast, recorded on machines that barely worked, mixed by a computer that didn't work at all. 3 weeks later, it enters the UK charts at number 47. By Christmas, it's number 1. By the following year, it's conquered the world. That tiny mechanical hiccup, that 1% error, becomes the template for generations of producers. 10cc uses speed manipulation on I'm Not in Love. Radiohead builds entire albums around subtle Verispeed. Today, every computer has a Verispeed button. A studio accident becomes industry standard. A mistake becomes a movement. But here's what keeps audio engineers awake at night. After analyzing every tape transfer, every studio session, every mechanical possibility, Roy Thomas Baker, the producer who was there, who made the call to keep rolling, has given different explanations over the years. Sometimes it's the machine's fault. Sometimes it's creative choice. Sometimes he just smiles. The man who could solve the mystery once and for all. The man who knows whether the most famous accident in rock history was really an accident, isn't talking. In the end, maybe it doesn't matter whether the tape speed error was accident or intention. What matters is that sometimes perfection hides inside an imperfection no bigger than a capstan tick. The question isn't whether Bohemian Rhapsody would have been as legendary without that error. The question is, what other masterpieces are waiting inside our mistakes? Now, listen closely. If a 1% glitch can birth a masterpiece, imagine what your own happy accident might do. Subscribe, share, and join us for the next untold story. Because history is still recording, and the tape is already rolling.